But Edwin, you want to highlight a few things from that game?
Yeah, a few things from the game. Ondoa, as Safu was talking about, had a really good game. And we'll see one moment where he really impacted. But this sequence, this goal from Guinea, this is where the problem lies for Cameroon. And we start from here. I like to highlight, stop it right here. I think Christopher Wu for Cameroon, he did a fantastic job in this situation, keeping up with Bayo, who eventually scored the goal. Great defending from him after Ondoa's save, then a huge tackle. And this is where I'd like to leave it at.
Okay.
These two players, Kemen and Inchada, there's no danger here, absolutely no danger.
They look in control of the situation.
They look in absolute control of the situation. And over here, Inchada decides to leave the ball for Kemen to take care of. His first instinct should have been, this ball goes out of play. There's no need to take any risks. And once he did that, obviously, the ball is taken away from him and Bayo gets a shot on goal. So this is a purely defensive error that Cameroon need to blame themselves for.
Self-inflicted.
Absolutely self-inflicted. But there are a couple of other things I would like to point out in this move. First, Costelletto, right here. I think he did Cameroon a huge disservice.
Okay.
His tracking back was not good. He didn't make an effort enough to get into a position which would have prevented Christopher Wu from making that original tackle. So if you take a look at it, he should have got back much quicker, way quicker, to allow himself to get into a position to clear the ball before Christopher Wu made that tackle. And I pull it back to this area right here. Look at these three Cameroonian players tracking back. The ball gets here, and then there's this huge space that none of them are focusing on. Everyone's attention is where the ball is going.
Okay.
And look at this player who is running up here. No one is focused on him, but they absolutely should be. They absolutely should be, because this is where the whole situation comes from. No one focuses on him. He has a clear run in on goal. If you move the play a little further, you can see that there's absolutely no one in this area to take care of any sort of rebound of the football. We'll move it even further. And this is where he gets in on the action. He should have been stopped from getting anywhere near the ball. There should have been players, Cameroonian players, who should have been busting a guts to get into that area to take off the rebound before the player gets to the ball. And unfortunately, they didn't. And ultimately, it led to them conceding a really, really bad goal. Self-inflicted, as we see.
Wow, interesting. So then, of course, the play breaks down from here, and then
it ends up in the back of the net.
You know what?
A really bad goal to concede for.
It's very interesting watching some of these sequences, and it just tells you how in football, seconds can change a lot. So you take your eye off the ball for a second, and that's it. And the difference between controlling a situation and letting it go out of hand really is a matter of seconds. So that second that you hesitate, should I go, should I not go, that second is enough time for the player to blow past you and go and get a goal. I don't know whether you have another thing to show us.
Yeah, second thing. You remember I mentioned that I accepted the red card in the earlier game. I'm going to explain why I do accept that decision. Obviously, same kind of tackle in this game. Let it run a little bit more. The referee ultimately doesn't give any yellow card. He's asked to go take a look at VAR, and this is what he has shown. Let's come back. Take it forward a little bit, and let's see what the referee has shown.
Oh, okay.
So, if you can see, the stump on the ankle, just as we saw in the previous game. So this is why I accept the initial decision. Why I may not think it was a straight red card offense. I think there's some consistency, and that is what I always call for. Once a tackle like that is made in one game and it gets a red card, if the same tackle is made in a second game, that should be a red card as well. And I think in that sense, the referees have done well to keep the decisions as consistent as possible. So a red card there for Kamano, a very big miss for Guinea, and that is where the game changed. Cameroon were under the coach up until then, and I felt that that's where they got back into the game. Okay. And now we take a look at the goal they scored. This is Nkudu on the left-hand side for Cameroon. And can anyone spot the huge problem here?
That's a lot of space.
A lot of space for a player who, up until this moment, kept crossing the ball into the box. He ended the game with 15 crosses, 7 of them accurate. And obviously, this was one of the 7 accurate crosses that he had in the game. So for the defender not to close this gap between the two, that was a suicide mission in the first place. So once the ball came into the box, Magri had a really clear header to get to. But in analyzing the header, the clean header that he got, let's take a look at this. Nkudu was obviously going to go with his right foot, yes, cross the ball into the box with his right foot. How many players could he have gone for? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Obviously, they're being marked by 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, and then 4. The ball ended up on the far post. That defender has an advantage because the obvious disadvantage, the height difference. And Magri is running into the box, which means he has a run on the defender. What you do as a defender in this case, what you do is you move, sorry about this. You move closer to the offensive player and try to stop him from getting a clean run into the box.
Okay.
You try to impede his run as much as possible. This left back did not do that. Silla, that's his name. He did not do that. He allowed Magri a clear path into the box. Obviously, he beat him for pace, beat him for power, beat him in height, in terms of height, and Cameroon got their equalizer. So this goal is down to poor defending from the Guineans, and it ultimately cost them in the end. They done so well keeping Cameroon at bay for the first 10 minutes of the second half, and to concede such a goal in such a position, very disappointing for them.